in complete honesty, I never thought it would be possible to suggest that a Doris Day film is underrated. I think she is incredible. But there is one film, The Winning Team from 1952, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. And when I went to look up more about the film, while there are a lot of people who really enjoyed it, it's got a 6.5 out of 10 rating on IMDb. When you kind of look around at Doris Day fan sites and things like that, this one's not really mentioned high up there, which I think is a shame because it's beautiful. I guess mainly because she's not the sole protagonist, whereas she usually is. But this film is one that I absolutely wanted to talk about. The really interesting thing about this is that it's a biography about a baseball player, and it's all in black and white. Now, this was 1952. They could have done it in colour if they wanted to, but they had made the decision to do this in black and white. They're not, well, they may have been the first to do a biopic in black and white when they could have used colour, but certainly they weren't the last, thinking namely of Tim Burton's Ed Wood. But it gives it quite an authentic feel to it, I think. But that's as far as I can go with authenticity, because I do not know much. In fact, I knew nothing about the background of this true story. So, the description, according to IMDb, is as follows. Poor health and alcoholism forced Grover Cleveland Alexander out of baseball, but through his wife's faithful efforts, he gets a chance for a comeback and redemption. So it's a true story about Alexander and the difficulties he faced during his career in baseball, and as you heard there, a chance for a comeback and redemption. Doris Day plays his wife, Aimee, which made me very excited. Different spelling, but it's great to hear her being called Aimee. The film is directed by Louis Seiler and written by Ted Sherdeman and Seeleg Lester. And as I said, based on a true story, I hadn't heard of Alexander. I know nothing about him. I can't comment on the performance in terms of accuracy, but Ronald Reagan did a fantastic job on screen. I'm trying to think. I don't think this is the first film I've seen Reagan in, but certainly I think it's the first one in quite a while. And Reagan and Doris Day on screen just work so well together. I hope that the representation of this of Alexander and Aimee is accurate, because it's beautiful to watch on screen. But it's also really emotional when you see how Aimee is affected by this, and as he downward spirals, obviously a lot of her life and her emotions do as well. So it's really raw and very hard to watch, but also really fascinating as well. As a narrative, I found that it was told very well. The setting up took a little while, but for me, having had no background knowledge, I wasn't really champing at the bit to get straight in with the raw, meaty aspect of it. I was quite happy to enjoy the build-up until things started to shift dramatically. I don't know if my opinion would be different if I knew anything else about this. I also have to say that I'm quite a baseball fan. I'm not knowledgeable about baseball, but I do like baseball. I don't know if that makes sense. But I really enjoyed that aspect in watching the games, and it was good fun in that sense. Obviously, being black and white is going to put some people off, because there are people who will just look at a black and white film and say, it doesn't matter. But honestly, it's beautiful. Now, I love black and white films as much as I do a film in colour. It doesn't faze me. But I think that was a really good choice for them with this. The casting is fantastic. I don't know who was on board first, Day or Reagan, but honestly, they go so well together. I don't believe I know any of the other actors in it, but the performances all around were absolutely brilliant for me. As I said, I don't really know how accurate the performances were. If you can comment on that, I'd be really interested to hear your views on whether or not you think they were as accurate as they could be. But for me, as a spectator of the film, rather than the reality, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Would I recommend this film? Absolutely. Would I have enjoyed it as much as Doris Day wasn't in it? Maybe marginally less, but we are talking a marginal difference, because I think it just ticked all of the right boxes for me. If you love biopics, biographies of any kind, or films about baseball, you need to hit this one up, because this film for me was a home run.